Hey guys, it's your girl Samantha with Black Nation News. Sorry I have been out for a little while. Got sick with pneumonia, but I'm back and ready to get right into this video. So I saw this video about a week ago with Phil, and usually I support Phil, but this new segment of videos that he's doing, talking about the quote-unquote modern woman or talking about divestors, yeah, I'm definitely going to have to respond to these videos because I definitely have a problem with them. First reason I have an issue, and I tried to tell myself I was going to play this video without commenting, but it doesn't ever work that well because I have to respond to some of the things that's being said that I feel like are lies, and just untruths that are being splattered around the internet. And one thing I'm not here for are stereotypes, and I'm definitely here for empowering black women is very necessary. So with this video, the reason why I have a problem with it is I feel like black males have been dating outside their race for a very, 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 very long time. And since I started following Cynthia G, I actually discovered that black men have been fighting to be with Becky for centuries now. Like, it's a lot of things that I thought I understood in our history was more or less really happening because black guys wanted to date outside their race. They wanted to have options. So all this time, black women have been being loyal to black men. Everyone knows it. There's articles about it. People constantly asking, why are black women single? Why are we least likely to marry? Blah, blah, blah. And usually it's because our options have decreased because of white supremacy, for one. You know, we have so many black males who are locked up. Then you have black males who just like to kill each other, but not give anyone else that kind of same energy, who have been oppressing them for like forever. So we just have like so many problems plaguing the black community. And I actually agree with a lot of things Cynthia G has been talking about. She's the main person I follow, and she does have like other women on who I also agree with. So I already told myself I'm going to join this movement. It needs to happen. I've already told you guys, people tell me to create a channel for a long time now, and this is just something that really speaks to me. So I feel like black women have been being loyal to black men for so long, and now that we're finally saying, you know what, we're going to explore our options a little bit more, like out of our race, because we just feel like black males have been disrespectful to us. They have been treasonous to their race, complete traitors, constantly betraying their race, constantly, just doing these acts that are just unforgivable, honestly. And through all of this crap that they've been doing for centuries, black males have been doing for centuries, black women continue to forgive them, continue to make excuses for them, continue to cover them, protect them, fight for them. You name it, we've been doing it. And the reality is black women are tired of it. Okay, so I started listening to Cynthia. I've been listening to Cynthia G for years and years and years and years. And then I kind of took a break from listening to her because she was very militant about the white supremacy stuff. And don't get me wrong, I am all the way there with this girl, but sometimes you have to take a break, like a mental break, just to keep yourself sane with fighting white supremacy. And so I had gotten pregnant with my twins. I had like some other things going on, some personal issues in my own life happening, and so I just took a step back. And so just as my relationship with my black man was unraveling, I kind of found Cynthia G's videos again and started listening to her again. And she really helped give me the strength to walk away. Like, she really helped me understand that what I was going through was not me being crazy. And that a lot of things that I didn't understand was because I was dealing with a guy who was constantly gaslighting me. I didn't even know what that word was until this year. Like, there's so many things I learned. And I walked away. I walked away from an abusive, horrible relationship. And yeah, so this is like one of the reasons I wanted to speak out, was because I want to help other black women who probably don't have the self-esteem or just don't even understand what they're dealing with as they stay with these guys. And I want to be what Cynthia G was for me. Like, I want to help give a voice to black women to let them know that, you can go out there and explore your options and look at a man as a man. Don't look at his race first. Look at him as a man, because that's what everyone else does. White women do it. Black males do it. White guys do it. Hispanic guys. Like, we're like the only group of people, I believe, black women, who are just still so loyal to only our men, when our men date out more probably than any other group of men. So it's just like, if you think about it realistically, it's just not realistic. Like, if you want to have a family, you want to have a husband and have children and just have this family that's actually intact, you're going to have to explore going outside of your race in America, especially when black people are not even the majority in this country. So if you want to find like a good husband, you're not going to be able to just date black males. That's just the reality of it. Because the few black males that we do have who happen to actually really be available, they're not necessarily good guys, And it's like, black women deserve the best. We work hard, we raise our children, we are just these selfless givers, and yes, we do have standards. So that's where we're going to come through with this video, because I was really offended when Phil tried to say that black women, like Brad, will not put up with our entitlement. And I'm not really sure, like, what he considered was entitlement. I don't really feel like I heard in his video him explain exactly what that entitlement was. Because to me, the things that, like, Brad or Chet, whatever people were calling him in the comment section, the white guy was saying were entitlements, I felt like they were more like preferences, because I feel like I see guys all the time saying what they want their women to look like, or what they want their women to bring to the table, or whatever. And so essentially, to me, it sounds like this is two guys in this video, Phil and the white guy, if I'm understanding them correctly. Like, you're basically saying that women are not to have standards. We're not to have preferences. We're supposed to just put up with whatever crap is being shitted out into society to us, and just be grateful you have yourself a man. Just be happy you have somebody that comes home every now and then and pays a little bit of attention to you. Unacceptable. Not going to happen. And the more that guys give us pushback, we're going to keep pushing back to them, and it's just going to be complete gender wars, and that's where we are. So I'm going to start this video. It was only 9 minutes, which is surprising, because I actually was able to finagle this into like 2 hours, and then I lost like all my footage because I had to clean off my phone to save my video. And yeah, that was quite devastating, but it's okay, because I feel like I was kind of like all over the place with the last video, because I was so passionate and emotional about what I just heard, and I just feel like very strongly about this topic. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys listen to this video. I will be interrupting it when I see things that I feel like need to be corrected, but yeah, that's just my commentary. So let's go ahead and start rolling. I'm going to fast forward through some things that I feel like I really don't need to have these said. Like, basically, the beginning, Phil is just talking about this video, and then he's going to just play the clip. One thing I noticed with Phil when the videos first starting is he seems to be very angry. He seems to be very triggered and emotional himself, and that's just like a whole nother issue that we have to deal with in the black community. Like, I really want to discuss more in like my videos about black males just being like way too emotional. It's too much crying on international TV or national TV, whatever you want to call it. There's too much just estrogen flying around on each gender, and I'm just like, you're calling women masculine, saying black women are too masculine, but you're acting like a bunch of bitches. So you kind of gotta like toughen up and be a man if you want black women to act like women. And so and again, that's kind of why we're divesting. It's like our men don't act like men, so we have to kind of look outside of the black community to look for men who are going to allow us to be women. So let me go ahead and play this clip.
They believe Brad isn't talking like the brothers are talking about the modern woman the entitlement, then some of the behavior, the Horace behavior. Brad and I talking about single mothers and some of the things that they're doing that's wrong. But y'all got the right one. I told y'all, I'm a seasoned vet in this. I'm not new to this. I know what I'm talking about. I'm the uncle now. I'm at the uncle stage. I'm Uncle Phil now. Okay? So I just got to show you the truth. So let's go ahead and roll this clip. For those of you who says expand your options and talking trash about black men, and that's your right, talk all the trash you want. But I want to let you know that Brad's understand definitely the deal. Roll that clip.
For today, gonna go over an article titled, "Why Do You Think You Deserve a King When You Are Not a Queen?" And guys, what I like about this article is that the writer is really putting in place women that are like this. In fact, really trashing women that are like this, that feel that they are truly entitled to a guy who would be perceived in society like a king, the top percentage type of guys. And we all know darn well how things are these days, is that by and large, most women feel entitled to guys like that, when mathematically it's impossible, and we're talking about the top 4, 5, 6% of the population of guys that obviously are very successful, make good money, have a good amount of money, have status, obviously are very good looking, physically appealing, all the sixes, 6 feet tall, 6-figure income and up, 6-pack, more than 6 inches down south, all those things. And like I said, what I like about this is this article, this is written by a woman. And so it's one thing to have guys talk about these things, but it's another when you actually have a woman that points these things out. And she isn't just getting into your average gals that feel entitled to these things. She's also making a point here where she says, you think you deserve a king, but you're not even a queen. Meaning, unfortunately, the way things have gone over the years is that you got so many women now that are just, let's be honest, have embarrassed themselves so much by their behavior on social media and things like that. OnlyFans, looking for attention and all that. And so you got these women up there that are on Instagram showing off their bodies, these single moms that are mothers that are raising children, and yet they're on social media, particularly Instagram, showing really risque, skimpy pictures themselves to get attention, or even worse, on OnlyFans and things like that. You feel entitled to a top quality guy when you pretty much are kind of act like trash? Really?
Oh, I only thought it was the brothers talking like that. Oh, it was only black men. Oh, black men is the only one that talk about issues with some of the single mothers. Oh, only black men is talking about the entitlement.
Okay, so we're going to stop there to start my first commentary. So you basically heard the video. You heard from Brad. I'm just going to call him Brad, even though he looks like a Chet. He, first of all, was not talking to black women. He was speaking, I would say at most, in a general manner, but he really looked like someone who dates white women. He doesn't seem like the type of guy that a black woman would be going for, but that's my opinion. What do I know? I'm just a black woman. So I know I'm not attracted to him, and he doesn't look like somebody that I would be caught dead with, especially when he said gals. I was done. So the next thing I wanted to bring up was Phil talking about Brad talking about single women. Black males have a true disdain for women and children, especially black women. So this is the article that Brad was talking about in Phil's video. Because he named the title of it, so I just googled it and feel like this is the one he's talking about. So this one says, "Why do you think you deserve a king when you're not a queen?" by Gina Florio. This was written September 7, 2020. Right away, Gina Florio does not sound like a black woman. She sounds like an Italian woman. And then she has like 2 white people on the cover or the beginning of her article, or they could be of Arabic or Indian ancestry. Something along those lines. So the reason I'm pointing that out, because you're probably like, what is she talking about? The reason I'm pointing that out is because Phil is acting like Brad is talking about black women and how he is not going to put up with the entitlement, and he never mentioned a race. And not only did he never mention a race in his video, but he also referenced a article that isn't talking about black women either. So let's go ahead and jump into this article, and then I'll play the rest of the video and offer my commentary and then wrap the video up. So let's move on. So it says, I'll never forget the image of her tongue sticking out of the side of her mouth. She was clad in a nude lingerie set, and she proceeded to hump and gyrate against a large foam hand while she licked her bright red lips. The sight of Miley Cyrus on stage with Robin Thicke at the 2013 VMAs is a moment that has been burned into our brains forever. It was a culturally explosive performance right before our eyes, which was a culmination of many years of over-sexualizing women in public spaces. On this time, we weren't even pretending like it was taboo anymore, and it was all being done in the most outrageous, exaggerated fashion. Nothing was too raunchy, nothing was off limits. Miley Cyrus bent over on stage and twerked herself into Robin Thicke's crotch. She rubbed his private parts. And might I add, guys, side note, it was the most disgusting, vile thing I probably have ever seen on stage. It was, I mean, all I saw was bones and skin and nasty cheeks, I guess. That was supposed to be a butt. It was, when I think of it, I want to throw up. It was just, never should have happened. I don't know if anyone thought that was attractive. I thought it was disgusting. She was shaped like a boy, and I'm just still trying to understand why any guy is sleeping with that. I mean, you look like a boy. So it said, we were instructed to fall in line and support this so-called liberation of young women. Anyone who dared to utter a concern about this wildly sexual, disturbingly explicit duet was an old-fashioned sexist who wanted to hold women back from freeing their sexuality. Fast forward several years, and now we have something even more vulgar. Not quite. I wouldn't put WAP as being more vulgar than what Miley Cyrus was doing that night. So she's claiming that WAP is more vulgar by Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. Okay, whatever. I don't even know. I've never heard that song, but I saw the video. I guess I was half-ass listening to the music because I don't, I'm not like a big music person, and I just don't feel like I was more as offended as when I had to look at Miley Cyrus gyrating on stage with nothing to show for, but she's like half naked. She was wearing less clothes that I remember, but I vaguely remember their video. I just didn't feel like yuck, yuck, yuck. With her, it was yuck, 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 like the whole time. I just wanted to throw up. So many of us can't help but ask what happened to our culture, what happened to the value and general respect of women. Two damaging cultural narratives at play. As I scratch my head and ponder these questions, I simultaneously witness everywhere, from friends and family in TV and movies, throughout American culture, the loud cry that it's simply impossible to find a good man to marry. Women complain on Twitter and reality TV shows and dinner parties how difficult it is to lock down a guy who is worthy of their time. Usually these conversations or stories consist of a woman complaining that a man is untrustworthy, unreliable, immature, unable to meet her needs, etc. He can't commit, he can't get his act together, he can't get along with his friends, he can't meet her emotional needs. No matter what the details might be, the message is simple, really. Men suck. The narrative is now coming from even the most unexpected of places. Conservative political commentator and Fox News host Tomi Lahren recently joined in on the tirade against men. It might not be us, it might be men, she vehemently said in an Instagram live video. I think they're trash all over this country. A lot of men don't know how to treat women. Add on top of that the narrative that has been on the steep rise in our culture. Women are simply better than men are in just about every category. Hillary Clinton said women are better suited to run countries because they're inclusive and empathetic. Even former President Barack Obama said that women are just better leaders than men are. I feel like in this article, one, she wants to elevate whiteness like most people do, especially when they're white. And that's why she's criticizing Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion's performance as being worse than Miley Cyrus. So that's something I just wanted to say really quickly. Two, her talking points don't fit her argument. If Tomi Lahren is not finding the guy that she wants to find, as Phil showed, isn't Tomi Lahren supposed to be the one that white guys want? So why isn't she married? Why isn't she in a happy relationship? Why is she creating videos talking about how shitty men are? Why? I mean, we could be here all day. I could make this video about 12 hours long and cover this topic and debunk like every myth, every lie, every stereotype, everything. It's just, and she's talking, this author's talking in circles. Because now she's talking about women complaining about men are not trustworthy, unreliable, immature, unable to meet her needs, etc. She's saying that guys are not great partners because women take their clothes off. How does that make sense? To me personally, if you're raised to be a good person, you're just going to be a good person, no matter what that person's doing. So this whole pretending like I don't need to protect black women because they don't even respect themselves, or I don't need to respect black women because they don't respect themselves, or you don't need my protection, you're a quote-unquote strong black woman None of that makes sense to me, and it just tells me that you're a shithead. Like, you're a jerk. Just go ahead and say you're an asshole. You were raised by an asshole, and you were never taught to act like you had any kind of sense. And you were raised by an asshole, and you were left by an asshole, and that's probably why you turned out to be an asshole. So, when guys come up with these sorry ass, like, comments about why they're not going to protect black women, I feel like you weren't going to protect us anyway. It was always going to be something. You're a narcissist, you're a wimp, you're a simp, you're a loser, you're a sorry ass excuse for a human being, and no black woman really probably wants you to begin with, and that's probably why you hate black women, because we don't want you. You're not a high value guy, that's for sure. You're probably living in your mommy's basement, you're dusty, you have your trash bag sitting right next to you, you haven't taken a shower in 40 years, you don't have any money, your breath stank, you're playing video games all night, you don't have a life, you haven't had a girlfriend probably ever, you're probably still a 40-year-old virgin, but we ain't even gonna get into that. And so I just feel like these are things that are happening, and so while we're always critiquing women and what we're doing, let's critique the guys and see what they're doing that's so great, because we don't see it. It's like these guys she's saying women are complaining about these things with these guys, and it's like, so you're saying these guys are allowed to act this way because women took their clothes off online? Miss me with the bullshit. No one's allowed to disrespect anybody, period. Like, that's just not anyone's right. You don't get to disrespect somebody because they took their clothes off. That's their prerogative to do what they want to do. You're still a human, and so is that person. You guys should still give each other that respect. If you don't want to date her, that's on you. What you shouldn't be doing is just dating her and then talking, like treating her like crap, or just sleeping with her and using her. Like, that's just not the way people should treat people. So let me continue. This narrative is now coming from even the most unexpected of places. Oh, sorry, I already read that part. So women are responsible for the state of our culture too. It's insane enough that we're pretending like women are guiltless, blameless angels who should be worshipped on a lily pad every day. I literally have no clue who's saying that anywhere. But what's even worse than this false narrative is the fact that women are arguably contributing to the downfall of our culture more than men are. That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie. And I'm actually going to go ahead and show you guys a clip of who really is running the media and the culture. Because in case this child forgot, I think her name is Miss Florio, Gina Florio. We live in a patriarchal society. So the people who are contributing to the downfall of our culture more would be men. Because men are the ones who determine what's on TV, what goes in the magazines, what's on social media, what's allowed in the laws, what's not allowed, so on and so forth. What kind of culture we want in the boardroom, in the corporate plantation. Everything is ran by men. Everything. They make all the decisions. They make all the rules. So I don't know how women are suddenly just having more responsibility for the downfall, and I don't even know how we would have that kind of power, because we just don't have it. White men have all the power, so if they did not want this, they could have put a stop to it. If they didn't want Miley Cyrus gyrating all over Robin Thicke, it would have never happened. They could have just shut it down. It's their stage, their show, their venue, their music, their money, their everything. So if they did not want her to be on stage doing just some nasty, disgusting stuff, men could have shut that down. Period. And you're going to take accountability. I don't care what anyone else is doing. I am the accountability police. You're going to take accountability. People love me because they say you're so fair, Samantha. Like, everything is going to be on this level of fairness. Like, it's going to be balanced. I don't believe in one group taking the hits and the other group just getting off scot-free. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. And it's like, no, there's guys out there that clearly promote over-sexualizing women, sexually objectifying women. It's been happening for a very, very long time, for centuries. I mean, you have guys who have the concubines, the harems, polygamy, cheating left and right, saying it's his right to spread his seed. That's what God wants. You name it, it's guys finding a reason to disrespect women and go and jump in someone else's bed, even though they're in a whole committed relationship. So, no, absolutely not. The people poisoning our culture are men. As soon as men put their foot down and say, you know what, we will no longer allow this on our programs, on our network television channels, then it will stop. It will cease to exist. As soon as men stop writing the checks to the women who take their clothes off on Instagram, Playboy, porn, movies, stages, like wherever women are taking their clothes off in public spaces, as soon as men stop dropping them dollars, making it rain on the strippers and all these females out here who are just like thotting themselves out, it will cease to stop. It will stop. The prostitutes, whomever is taking their clothes off, when men stop paying them, it will go away. The reason why it's still around and it's thriving is because there's a market for it. This is simple business 101, guys. You wouldn't have a product if there wasn't a market for it. You shouldn't waste your time investing in it, researching it, going and getting it created somewhere in a manufacturing plant or something, testing it, doing a test run with a study group, whatever, see how it's going to go out in public, how it's going to do. Like, you wouldn't go through all that if you didn't control everything. They just control everything. White men control everything. And they're just, it's almost like laughable to me that this chick wrote this entire article trying to put women on notice or something, and you have Phil co-signing whatever the white guy is talking about, and I'm just sitting here like, we just all gonna just point the finger and pretend that everybody else is responsible except white men and black men and men in general. Because last time I checked, most guys in America seem like they haven't seen a booty ever. They are acting so addicted to sex. Like, they act like horny teenage boys, even if some of them can't even get their stuff up anymore. That's our culture. Women are just responding to the culture that we've been born into. Because let's be real, if you don't know, you're stupider than you look. Like, most women do not want to be taking their clothes off and stripping and doing all these really derogatory things. They do it because that's where the money's at. And if we had good husbands who were doing their damn jobs, wouldn't have to take off our clothes to like make money to pay for formula and the rent and just whatever else is needed for the household. So just no, absolutely not. I will not let it happen. I will not let her sit here and claim that women are contributing to the downfall of the culture more than men are. That's a fucking lie. So she's saying here, women generally make up the most vulgar, most risque content we see in the media today. Yeah, because men are producing the content for the media. They're putting out what they want to see. They're putting it out from their perspective. They're not going to put half-naked men out there. They don't want to look at that. Just like I don't want to look at half-naked women. They don't want to look at half-naked men. They're not going to put them on TV. That's why when they're putting out vulgar, risque content, because that is what the men want to see. If it didn't work and quote-unquote sex didn't sell, they wouldn't still be doing it centuries later. Women were always the sex objects in movies and commercials and shows, anywhere, even in the radio space where you can't even see the woman. You can tell she's supposed to be like the sexy part of the show. So she's saying they strip their clothes off at the drop of a hat, dance and writhe on the floor in little to nothing, and then turn around and demand that they be treated like queens. I'm sick of pretending like this is perfectly okay. Why would you ever think you deserve a king when you act like a classless, crass, and trashy woman who has no value for her own sexuality? And again, we're going back to the king and the guy of high value, and then you have to wonder, like I said before, what exactly is high value? What is considered a king? Does he have his own kingdom? Where's that kingdom at? What does it consist of in 2021? Is it a compound, like you have like 50 acres of land? Is it just your house that you have in the suburbs? Like, do you have an island like Richard Branson? Like, what is the kingdom that you're a king of? Because to my knowledge, a lot of black men do not have ownership of shit. They don't own a house. They don't own anything. They're renting, or they're living with the baby mama on whatever. It's like, yeah, we can be here with the stereotypes all day long for everybody. Everybody can get it. Everybody can get this energy. You know what I'm saying? So if you got this smoke for black women, you can get the same thing. Black males and black home ownership just isn't up there like that. Like, I just don't know what this kingdom is. Like, you're trying to say black, or sorry, I'm not going to say black women, because they actually did not mention a race. She didn't mention a race in her article at all, and neither did Brad. But you're basically trying to say that women who are classless, quote unquote, classless, crass, and trashy have no value. So the king does not see value in that. You really believe that? Really? The women are taking off their clothes because actually men have been saying the opposite. Like, that's our only value, is our bodies. That's what they're paying you for, is to take your clothes off. To have you shake your ass in the music videos. To look at your boobs and your butt and your vagina. It's like, or to just have your children. Like, you're supposed to look a certain way so you can have beautiful babies and healthy babies. And some of that is like just evolution, it's just a nature type thing. So some of it is like subconscious. So for her to say that is a lie. I don't know too many kings who were like, I'm going to choose the ugliest female I can find. Like, they oh my goodness, it's too much. It's too much lying going around. Like, you're saying he has no value. Would you ever think you deserve a king when you act like a trash who has no value for a station? I don't understand that sentence. Especially when you have guys who are like, I want a freak in the bedroom and a lady in the streets. They want classless, crass, and trashy. That's why it exists. They're controlling everything. Men are controlling everything. So this is exactly what they want. If this is not what they wanted, it wouldn't be constantly perpetuated year after year after year. Like, it just keeps continuing. It keeps recreating itself. It actually keeps getting worse. Like, more and more women just taking off more and more clothes, to the point where you have women who are Instagram models. That's like a job now. Like, that's like a thing. People are getting fame. They're meeting famous men. Women are meeting famous men and marrying them and having children with them. Kim Kardashian's whole career took off from a sex tape. And you're trying to write this article and make women believe that a high value, quote unquote, high value guy does not want a woman who acts classless, crash, and trashy. It's just such a contradiction, because all I see are quote unquote kings getting with classy, trash, and crass and trashy. And that again is why you would have to look at the definition of what exactly is a high value guy. What exactly is a king, quote unquote king, considered? What is considered a king? So she put, I realize it sounds harsh and I'm well accustomed to replies such as, you're slut shaming, but there's a big difference between shaming someone and speaking the difficult truth that few people want to hear. And the funny thing is, like, I actually sort of agree with her. I as a heterosexual woman, do not want to see women half naked everywhere. Like, I mean, I see them on commercials, on cover magazines, while I'm in the grocery store. I see them in shows that, like, for instance, my TV accidentally my TV accidentally ended up on like a black music channel, Vivo, on my TV, and I don't even know what the channel is. I don't know if it was, I don't think it was BET. It was like, we have like a smart TV, so it has like its own little channels and stuff. It's just doing whatever. And so it has like these Vivo channels, like country music, rap, R&B, blah, blah. And so it ended up on a black channel, which typically is not on one, because of this reason. Because every time it ends up on a black music channel, there's like butt cheeks. From here to the end of time, it's just cheeks. And then I actually just recently saw this video with Tiana Taylor, this fade video from Kanye West. And just butt is just completely out. That's what we're doing now. We just, every year, women become more and more naked. It's funny because like when music started to decline, back in like the 90s is when I first noticed like how women were starting to like take off more and more clothes. I told my sister, I was just like, I know by the time 10, 20 years from now, women are not going to be even wearing clothes, and we basically are there now, where women just, I mean, I don't know what Tiana Taylor's wearing. I actually love her music. I love her music. I love her relationship. I think, they're great. But I was kind of shocked, like, when I see, because I don't watch the videos, and this is why. And I don't allow my children to watch these videos. But I mean, she literally was wearing like this little bitty string, and she wears like swimsuits like that all the time on just family outings with her daughter, but it's completely out. And I was actually at a Six Flags at an amusement park with my children. I was taking them to the pool. It was like, it's so, summertime, it's hot, and this Asian woman had her cheeks just completely out. It was so out of place. It's just like. And then on top of that, when I was in Baltimore, I was at the rooftop swimming pool, because I love to swim, and it's relaxing. I love water, and so I was just like, just kind of lounging, kind of relaxing. The kids were in the daycare downstairs, and I was just kind of taking like a mommy break. And I saw so many butt cheeks walking around, like so many women, even if their swimsuit, their bathing bottom, the bikini bottom was like cover their butt, they would purposely like push it up their crack so that they could have like their cheeks out. And I'm just like, okay, that's what we're doing now. Everyone's got their ass cheeks out, and that's just supposed to be normalized. That's just everyday normal as behavior. And people like, it's like, it's crazy. It's like, I don't understand why they're doing this. But then when I happen to see these videos, because I'm not like I call my sister like a music head, like she's really into music. I always wrote books. Like, I'm a writer. I read books and I write novels, write poetry, etc. Write even music. And so I've never been the type to really follow music and watch music videos, and especially like when I saw how downhill it was going with the nudity and etc. I will just remove myself from certain things, because I'm just like, no. And so when I look back on it now, like after I've seen these last two videos with Fade and the other black video I saw like a couple of days ago, I can see now why women are at these pools with their asses hanging out. Because it's like, well, this is stuff that used to not even be allowed on regular TV. This was stuff you had to like go watch Skinamax. Or you had to stay up late till like 1 a.m. to see the videos on BET that were like extra risque, and of course, like, being a kid, usually parents are not gonna let you be up that late watching TV. So, it's for the grown people, the grown and sexy. But now it's like, it's just on regular TV. You're changing channels, and your kid gets to see some booty. And I mean, we're not even going to talk about how easy it is to access porn nowadays. I mean, porn is free, and it's on the internet, and it's so easy to access, and there's so many different websites. And so the sex is everywhere, And so for women and men to now try to be speaking out against this, when there's still so many men actively supporting it, no. There's like, you cannot just put it on the woman to change. You have to put it on the men to change as well. Like, men need to set the standards and say, like, this is not acceptable anymore. Women cannot be on it. We had to have some censorship. Women cannot be on TV with a thong on, dancing around a gym like she's in an outfit. She can't do a concert in a corset thing, lingerie thing that should be in the bedroom, Beyonce, with her husband on stage with her, no less. Like, I show you the videos, like how many husbands are standing next to their wives, these celebrities, and their wives are like in next to nothing. Why is that okay? Like, I know, like, guys I've been with would never have let me step out the door looking like that. And it's been normalized. Like, people are like, well, they're celebrities, blah, 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 blah. But let's be real. Like, Americans worship celebrities. We worship excess. We worship people who have money, and the rich people, the rich and famous. And we've been doing it for a very long time. And it's been promoted for us to do it that way. It's been all designed for us to do things this way. And it's been designed by white men. So people want change, they're talking to the wrong groups. You're not talking to black women. You're not going to talk to women in general. you need to go have a conversation with white men, because they're the ones controlling everything. They control the purse strings. They control what you see on TV. They control the media. They control what is said, what is heard, what is done, what is people's perceptions, the stereotypes in the movies, etc. They control it all. So you're speaking to like a brick wall right now. It's just like with any service or any product, as long as there's a need for it, and trust me, guys will always have their need for sex. They will always have their need for nudity and the perverted lifestyle of perversion. They love sex, and it cannot get any raunchier. The raunchier, the better. And as long as there's a need for that, you just better saddle up and get used to seeing the raunch everywhere. And you can definitely, hide yourself from society, or, live a certain lifestyle so you don't have to deal with it. But I think it's like really irresponsible and almost pointless to write a whole article about women being raunchy, etc., when you still have so many men who will not only entertain that. It used to be like a looked down upon for a guy to marry like a dancer or a prostitute or a stripper or whatever. I don't think there's like that much stigma to it as much anymore. I think celebrities have normalized that you can marry the stripper. And when women see this also, it's like, why should I be the good woman? It's not easy being a good woman, and it's not as fun being a good woman versus the bad girl. And when we all know guys really want the bad girl, let's be honest, they think good women are boring, just like they say women think good guys are boring. But do they make great partners when they're with the bad people? Probably not, but they're more fun, they're more exciting, they're more sexy, and the chemistry is through the roof. You can't get enough of them. They're intoxicating. So it's just, I don't really see things changing. I don't see things going away. And I feel like the only way there would be change is to petition and talk to white males and say, like, I don't want this around my children. We need to censor TV. We need to censor the radio where they're calling women bitches and hoes all the time, and talking about drugs or whatever. Just like a lot of crazy stuff that kids are listening to. It's a lot. It's a lot. And we all know it's coming from the media. The video games, everything, the violence, everything comes from the media. The media is controlling everyone. The television is running the whole country, if not the world. And that needs to be addressed. Not let me pick on women who are just giving the men what they want, or just following, giving them what they want. If that's what white guys pay for, yeah, I'm taking off my clothes too. Like, everyone's gonna be taking off their clothes. Like, money talks. Okay, so let me continue. I'm not taking off my clothes, but still, you get what I'm saying. So the hard truth is that only good women attract good men. That difficult truth is, if we want to attract a worthy man who is smart, kind, successful, and a wonderful future father, then we have to be the woman of his dreams too. No matter how much you try to deny it, that dream woman is not someone who dresses promiscuously, flirts with other men, talks freely about explicit sexual acts, and exploits herself on the internet for attention or money. And she also doesn't condone and celebrate that kind of behavior either. The obsession with political correctness has prevented us from being able to acknowledge that sexual purity or modesty is in fact a desirable trait in women. A worthy woman is private about her sexuality and shares it only with her boyfriend or husband. It's time that we put to rest the myth that sexual promiscuity will set us free. There's nothing about sleeping with multiple men that will ever make you feel more cherished, accomplished, or loved. Sorry, one second. So if we're really searching for a good man to spend the rest of our lives with, we will reject the cultural narrative that sexually free women are liberated women. Actually, sexually free women are liberated women. Like, the way I look at it, like, if you're going to give standards to women of like how we should be acting in public or whatever, like, again, it needs to be equal. Males need to have those same standards. So I just don't. I don't think women want to be oppressed. No one wants to be oppressed. So I just feel like everyone needs to be respectable in public. And if there's not that happening on the male side, then women should get to do what they want to. You know, we're not going to be doubly oppressing women and telling men you can just be a whore, or calling women bitches and hoes and just acting completely vulgar and it's okay. No, it's not. You need to step your game up too and be socially, what do you call it? Presentable. You know, like when you walk out your door, like be something that I want to look at for yourself as well. Don't be a nightmare and have your ass hanging out of your pants because you're sagging, or you know, whatever else you have going on with your hair or something. Just being a thug or a gangster or a Satanist or something, like you have your stuff too that you need to fix as men. So before we put all the blame on men and point our fingers at them, we need to be sure that we're doing everything we can to improve ourselves. At the time, we can't be afraid to speak up against celebrated moments like Miley Cyrus's VMA. No, she said, at the same time, we can't be afraid to speak up against celebrated moments like the Miley Cyrus's VMA performance and Cardi B's latest music video. These are the very displays of women that are harmful and derogatory. See, that doesn't even make sense. She said we should be able to speak up, not be afraid to speak against celebrated moments. Okay. Speak up against celebrated moments like Miley Cyrus. So she said these are the very displays of women that are harmful and derogatory, and they teach young girls that selling their bodies for everyone to see is a noble thing to do. I don't know if they would call it noble. It's just, it's like we're talking about divestment. It's just a choice. It's just another choice. So closing thoughts. Today, personal responsibility is a radical idea, but what if we took full responsibility for our lives? What if you change your lifestyle habits? So let's pretend she's talking to guys now and see how realistic this is. No more partying, no more drinking, no more sleeping around, no more overeating, no more drama. If you put the time and effort into being the dream woman, you would have a much easier time finding a man who can meet you where you're at and fulfill your needs. Yeah, that was a load of crap. But anyway. So yeah, I just wanted to read that article so we could get some real context into what Brad was talking about as far as like the entitlement. And it's basically what he's talking about is that women like take their clothes off and they're showing the world their privates, etc., and yet they still want to have a high value man. But the ironic thing is that's all I see are men who you would consider high value. I mean, they make a lot of money, they're celebrities, they're sexy and attractive or whatever. Talented guys, you know, smart, intelligent guys, like they are marrying like half naked women on a regular basis. So it's kind of hard to like give this argument and expect women to really take you seriously when we're sitting here as good, quote unquote, good women looking at quote unquote good men or high value men running and dating outside their race in record numbers and dating women who used to be a waitress or a dancer or some other inappropriate classless job. There's just like, okay, you took your clothes off for money, great, not really. But like I said, there's a market for it. Not only is there a market for it, but the guys are turning around and wifing these women. So it's like other women who are being good are looking at this and they're just like, what incentive do I have to keep my clothes on? I'm still single. I'm still eating a TV dinner at home by myself every night. I don't have any kids. I'm not economically becoming free because I, got married to this rich guy who wants to basically have candy, eye candy on his arm or a trophy on his arm. And yeah, it's just crazy. It's just crazy that people are trying to put everything on the women. It's unbelievable to me. It's like, no, women don't have that kind of, we just don't have that kind of choice or power when it comes to employment and making money for our livelihoods. It's always going to come back down to sex. Because that's the one thing that people do see for women as having value for is their sex. That's about it. They don't, you'll have guys, like especially black guys, they'll tell you they don't care if you have a degree. They're not attracted to you making a lot of money. That's not what they want from you. You know, they're thinking with their dicks. So this article was dumb. And frankly, so I found this article that I wanted to read because I feel like it's really important to stick to science and really delve deeper into why it's so important for Black women to speak out in support of divesting. I typically, like Cynthia G and many Black women, would not have been that person that would have been the first one to say, oh, I think we need to divest, because I was also raised to believe that Black men were the end all, even though they don't look at us the same way. You know, they definitely feel like they have options, you know. And, you know, when I think back on it, I don't really remember my parents telling my brother to stay inside of his race, but I felt like my sister and I were expected to marry or date guys who were Black. And, you know, it was just really crazy when you look at the double standard in the Black community, and then you wonder why Black women are single. And it's like, well, of course we're single, because if there's already too many Black women compared to Black men to begin with, and then Black men are not being raised to have a loyalty to their race, and they can basically date out and date whomever they want to date and marry without as much pressure as Black women, then of course that's going to leave Black women single, and Black men are going to have, you know, a partner because they have a more of a higher selection to choose from. I mean, that's just numbers. That's just a scientific, mathematical fact. So I want to go ahead and read this article, and I have another article I want to read to support why I, a Black American woman, am finally on board with Black women going outside of our race. Because once I started doing the research, I'm like, you know what, that actually kind of makes sense. Like, if we continue to go the route we're going, Black women are never going to be finding a partner to have children with, to build with. And let's be real, like, marriage is about economic stability, and it's about upward mobility in an economic capitalistic society. And if you're like by yourself as a single mother trying to raise kids, like, you're already putting yourself at such a disadvantage. That's just the first thing when you want to look at just a scientific financial fact of it all. But then the second thing is, why don't Black women deserve happiness? Like, don't we deserve happiness like any other group of women? I'm just so over, like, our society telling Black women that we don't deserve happiness, that we aren't desirable. Those are all lies. It's like, enough is enough. And of course, once more, if Black women don't fight for ourselves, who's going to fight for us? It's not going to be Black guys. And so now that Black women are kind of, you know, opening up our options more, exploring our options more, you have these Black guys that are flipping out. And the reality is, we're not your business, especially, Phil, when you're already married outside of your race. You're already married, so you shouldn't be worrying about what anybody's doing. And then you're married outside your race. So can we talk about a serious case of hypocrisy that's happening here, and narcissism? So even though you're already doing this, Godfrey, who's always was bragging about how many white women he's slept with, and he's still single with no kids. So it's not like you can say, well, I was just having fun, but at the end of the day, I married a Black woman and I have Black children who I take very good care of. That's not happening. That's not happening. And you'd be hard pressed to find a Black male that is high, quote unquote, high value, that is married to a Black woman and has Black children with her, and they've been married for like 30, 40 years, and she's financially secure, getting to rest in her femininity, just living her best life. I don't know who that woman is. Most of the Black women I know who happen to be married to Black men, the Black women I know who happen to marry are married to Black men, because society and our culture makes Black women feel like that's our only option, even though Black men are dating out at record numbers and marrying out at record numbers. The second thing is, they make more than their husbands, which to me personally is unacceptable. No other race of women at such high rates make more money than their male partners. I'm not about to be doing that. I'm just not going to sign up for that. That, to me, that's like where I draw the line. I knew since I was a teenager I was not supposed to be making like the same amount as my partner. Like, he's like, to me, honestly, he was supposed to be making what I made or more. But if I really want to be honest, I wanted him to be making more than me. And I feel like that's just normal in America, or probably in the whole world. Like, majority of societies in the world function that way. The guys are the providers and the protectors. They make the money, they build, and women are the nurturers. We take care of the children, we clean the house, we cook, we take care of house and home, basically. So let me go ahead and read this article. I felt like it was very very informative. It was very well written, and I think it did a great job of breaking down why Black women do need to divest and start to really explore those options. So here we go. And these are like a lot of great articles. I'm looking at something else. I have so many videos, guys, I have to do. And it's just been like so crazy trying to get my videos done and edit it on top of that. Hold on a second. Okay, so let's try this again. So let me go ahead and read this article. So it says, why do Black women get so much flack for interracial dating? A 2010 report called Marrying Out reveals that 1 in 7 marriages in the United States is interracial or interethnic. Rates of intermarriages among newlyweds in the U.S. more than doubled between 1980, which is 6.7%, and 2008, 14.6%. The report highlighted how rates of interracial marriages among newlyweds more than doubled among whites and nearly tripled among blacks. The rates of Black women getting married, however, remain grim. 42% of American Black women have never been married, double the number of white women getting married. Of the Black women getting married, most of them are tying the knot to Black men. Meanwhile, Black men are marrying out at a whopping 22%, more than twice the rate of Black women, who marry out at a rate of just 9%. The low stats of marriage aren't something that should be bypassed, however. Marriage is still a form of economic mobility in our modern society, and it has benefits that cannot be overlooked, at least for Black women. Dating is notoriously difficult for Black women. In 2014, an OkCupid study found that Black women and Asian men get the least amount of matches compared to other demographics. Research reveals that the more educated Black women are, the less we're getting married. Black women with a college degree who are between the ages of 35 and 45 are 15% less likely to get married than white women. Perhaps our dating difficulties arise because we are socially conditioned to protect and maintain the Black community at our own expense. While Black men have no qualms about dating outside of the Black community, many Black women remain loyal to their male counterparts and refuse to date outside of their race. As Cheryl Y. Judice writes in her book, Interracial Relationships Between Black Women and White Men, most young girls grow up fantasizing about dating and marrying someone within their own racial ethnic group, and Black girls are no exception. On the other hand, Black women are disproportionately attacked by both Black men and women on the rare occasions that they do date interracially or interethnically. When Serena Williams announced her engagement to Alexis Ohanian, a white man, Black men had lots to say, and most of it was negative. So why don't Black women deserve the flag? Well, for one, we're not doing anything that our male Black counterparts aren't doing at elevated rates, in fact. Number one, Black women who date interracially are the minority compared to Black men. Black women enter the dating market at a disadvantage. We're consistently undervalued on a collective level by men of all races, white, Black, or other. There's usually no shortage of men willing to sleep with us, but at the same time, they're not always considering marrying us. Compared to Black men, we're not as highly sought. We are maybe not as coveted as Black men in society, said Melinda Watson in an interview with ABC News. I just feel there's a lot of taboo that is associated with dating Black women because I don't think they are necessarily ready to take us home to see mama. She did not necessarily hit the net. I hate when I hear people speaking out on these like white networks and they have to like say stuff a certain way. Like, I feel like they never get down to the nitty gritty, and I feel like places like ABC News have spread enough negative PR or publicity about Black women and these stereotypes of Black women that make us appear to be undesirable to men of all races. It's even our own race of men. So, like when Black guys date outside their race, the first thing they do is they regurgitate these talking points that I've seen in articles and on movies and in, the news or whatever. It's like, oh, Black women are too loud, they're this or that, blah, blah, blah. And they really have you thinking like you're the only woman in the world that gets an attitude. And it's like, we all know that's not true, because look at the Karens. They're acting like complete ogres. But, it's just like, it's so easy to shit on Black women because we are the least protected in the entire world. And I think that's even more reason why Black women should divest, because we deserve that protection. And if it's not going to come from Black men, hey, if you have a man out there who loves you and he's checking for you, like, you may want to start looking further out and giving guys a chance, because it could go wrong on any level at this point with any group of men. And that you'll see that as I continue to read in this article, because the domestic violence rates with black men and black women they're very high. So number 2, black men aren't collectively meeting our standards. There's simply not enough high quality, financially stable men to go around. And this is a very important bullet point, because I want to really delve into exactly, because I really don't like to buy into stupid shit that I see like on social media, but I hate like terms like modern woman, high value men. I think high value man is a contradiction for black men. I don't even think I don't think the black community has a high value anything. Like, I just don't see it. But I don't know. You know, I have to research it more, because I'm like, I really don't know what they are considering to be high value. Are we just going off of his money and his status and his dick size and how tall he is? Like, what exactly is being measured to determine that this person is a high value? You know what I'm saying? And like, who says that, like, just because the guy is high value for one person, does that mean he's high value supposed to be a high value guy for all women populations? Because to what I find to be high value definitely probably will not meet the criteria of like a Kim Kardashian or some white female or whatever. Like, I want someone who actually isn't narcissistic, for instance, like someone who actually cares and is an empathetic person and compassionate. And, you know, yes, I do want him to have money, but does he need to be a millionaire or a multimillionaire or a billionaire? No, he doesn't. He needs to make more than me, and I'm not making what Kim K makes. So it's really not that hard for me to find, you know, I'd probably have more numbers of guys that would meet my criteria than Kim Kardashian, for example. And the reason I'm just saying Kim Kardashian, because she's like a white female who has like a lot of money. But, you know, like Serena Williams, like there's so many women, all the women out there who have like millions of dollars, like an Oprah. They're high value guy, because to me, a high value guy is a guy that makes what you make or more. And honestly, if I really want to not be like nice, like the way my mother raised me and most black women raise their daughters, I would be honest and say he needs to make more than me. He needs to make more than me. And I'm a type A, highly driven personality, like a lot of black women are. We have degrees, we're educated, etc., etc. So you have to be doing better than me. You definitely can't be like coming off the pen, not able to get a job. You can't be a convicted felon. You can't be selling dope on the corners. Like, you just can't be doing that, having that life, because that's not high value to me. If you're like kind of like risking going into jail or prison at any moment and being taken away from our family, and now you're the breadwinner, and where's that money at because you're behind bars, like, that's just not high value to me. High value would be a guy who is legally successful. Yes, I know, even though I say that, there's like so many white collar crimes, etc., going on. But even if he was doing like white collar crimes, which I would prefer he not, but even if he was, the sentences for white collar crimes are a lot lower than, you know, other types of crimes, like, you know, other types of criminal offenses. So again, like, that's why I want to really delve into what is considered high value. You know what I'm saying? My high value does not match another woman's high value. It's just as broad as terminology that go, again, just like the modern woman. What is a modern woman? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's BS. All of it is just like another way, I feel, is to marginalize and oppress women. It's just another way to put us in a box and say, you know, you don't fit the criteria, or you do fit the criteria. Like, it's just another way to measure us up, like being a quote unquote dime piece. And I'm sorry, I just never buy into that crap. You know, I never have, and I never will. I've never really had a problem meeting a black man. I married a black man, and then I was engaged to another black man, and he was probably the second black guy I was engaged to. And then he just turned out to be like a toad, so we did not continue with that relationship. But I never consider myself to be the type of woman to have a trouble finding a quote unquote good black man, like a black man who makes a lot of money, who's 6 feet or taller, who has other great attributes about himself. So I still don't feel like I have those issues if I really wanted to. But I do think that divesting is definitely a topic that we need to talk about. I think this is like, I feel like black women are at too high of a record of numbers, not married, not having a husband in the home, and I think it's not acceptable. I just think black women deserve better. We're the original woman of this earth. We're beautiful, we're stunning, we're intelligent, we're brilliant, we're smart, we're funny, we're caring, we're great mothers, we're great caretakers, we take care of the home, we're great cooks. We have a lot of positive attributes. Like, despite what the media and everybody else tries to say about us, like, I do not care. The proof is in the pudding. Black women are always doing a damn thing. Results speak for themselves time and time again. And just like there's a small percentage of black women who are thotting themselves out on Instagram or whatever, we have a very large number of black males who are a hot fucking mess. Just like any other race, they have a big mess of people as well. If you really want to go study their groups, because just like Phil is pretending he knows white people so well, I'm African American. I grew up in America, so I have been up under white people for a long fucking time too. My entire life, I grew up in a predominantly white area, so I worked around them. I went to school with them. So yeah, I know white people too, and white people have their mess also, and so do Asians, and so do Indians, and so does everyone else. Because I see these people like every day. I actually go into their homes because it's some things I do for my business, and I get to see everything under the sun, and their lives are not perfect. They are not perfect. They are human just like anyone else. They have their flaws just like any other group. They're not superhuman. They're never going to be better than black people because they're not the original people. We're the original people. Everyone is imitating us and trying to be like us, and it's basically a mutation of us. So the only thing that's fucking up things for black women is the mental part of it. People putting this mental picture out there of like what black women are. Don't speak for me. Don't talk for me. Don't tell people what I am. You don't know what I am. You don't know who I am. I've been in relationships with black guys who are so narcissistic, like they don't even know who I am. I now let them know, you'll never know me because you don't deserve to get to know the real me. You're going to know the bitch me, the one that, I give what I get. If you're an asshole, I'm going to be an asshole right back to you. And that's just what it is. So I gauge how much of myself I give to a guy based on how he treats me. I'm not bending over backwards trying to prove nothing to anyone. Like, you have to earn that shit. You're not just going to be a jerk and then be like, oh, well, if you want to get married, you need to do this. And no, I don't have to do any of that shit. I had a black father in the household, so I was raised that black men are supposed to do stuff first. Men are supposed to show first that they want this woman. They're supposed to be courting. They're supposed to do the chasing. And like Tomi Lahren said, which I'll show her video later in this video, but I wish I would chase a black, I'm saying a black guy because it's habit, but I wish I would chase a guy. I'm not chasing anyone. I don't have it in me. I'm not built that way. I wasn't raised that way. I'm not about to start doing it now. I'm almost 40. I never did it then. I'm not going to do it now. And I don't have a shortage of guys who are trying to talk to me. Whatever age, whatever race, whatever quote unquote high value you want to say. And it's like, because of the way I carry myself, because of what I have, my own things, like I always have my own money, my own stuff, I'm not desperate. And I think that's like another thing. It's like black women need to stop acting desperate. We need to stop acting like we're not desirable. We need to stop proving these people, like trying to prove them right. We're living like the way people are telling us to live. Fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your own YouTube channel. And I've been saying this. Black women need to speak out more. We need to be our own voice, because there's so many people speaking out for us. There's so many people talking for us. And that is really the last straw for me. I've seen different, like, African women, just Jamaican women, like whoever, white women, Asian women, Hispanic, like, no, you're not going to speak for me. You're a fucking imitation of me. You're a knockoff of me. You're a mutation of me. You will not speak for me. Absolutely not. Absolutely. Like, I literally am not playing with you. Like, you're just not going to talk for me. You talk for yourself. Worry about your own community and your hot mess of a community and your fucking problems, and stay out of my goddamn business. That includes people like Phil. It's like, you're a black guy. You're not a black woman. Why are you talking? Why are you talking for me? So this is why I have a channel, because no one's going to speak for me. No one's going to care about me more than me. So if anyone's going to be talking about divesting and whether or not black women should do it, it should be black women. It's our choice. We can do whatever the hell we want to do. And if we want to go out and date Brad, that's what the fuck we're going to do. We're going to go out and date Brad. I had a guy like about 10 years ago. I actually went to school with him, and it was a white guy, and he hit me up in my DM, and he wanted to like date me. And I'm not even gonna lie, I was terrified. I was like, whoa, like this totally out of my comfort zone, something I've been raised not to do. And then my family's from the South too, so they did not play around with like the interracial stuff at all, because they've seen too much with the racism and white supremacy. And I'm not even gonna lie, guys, like even if our families did not tell us, didn't like make us say we had to date within our race, like date black, it still like fucks with my brain, like how black people can get with white people, knowing like their history and what they've done to us. Like that hasn't even been reconciled yet. Like we don't have any reparations. They haven't repaired anything. So I really do have a hard time understanding how we can get past that. Like, so like people like Serena Williams, for instance, like she's dating a white guy, but he's not from America. So I don't know if that makes a difference, you know. And it's like, you could, or do you say, okay, well, I'm dating an Asian guy, it's different, they never enslaved us, or I'm dating a Hispanic guy, or whatever, you know. So there's like all these different layers. But again, no matter how black women want to go about it, it's still our choice. It's a free country. We live in a free America, a country I fought for, and a lot of black women in my family fought for these freedoms. So I literally am trying not to cuss, but I can give two craps about what anybody is saying about black women divesting. You don't have a say in this. You don't have the power to stop us, and you don't have a say to stop us. If black women want to go outside of our race and explore our options so that we can make sure we have a fucking husband at home, and we have someone who's going to be the father to our children, who's going to be there to help raise our kids and not have us single mothers trying to do it on our own, and someone to love us and protect us and be that springboard that we need in our lives, and that support system that we need. That's what the fuck we get to do. That's what we get to do. We get to leave out of the black community and look for a partner that better fits us, because black men have been doing it forever, and they've been bitching about why they do it forever. They get on YouTube, they love to get on TikTok and do their videos and talk about why they're dating out and how much better Becky is, or Ming Lee, or Maria is than black women are. And now you think you're going to fix your face, especially when you are married outside of your race, Phil. You're going to think you're going to fix your face for decades when y'all have been showing your ass, and tell us that we shouldn't be divesting, or what Brad is going to accept or not accept. You have no clue about any of this. You don't have any say in this. That's what's crazy to me. Like, these guys have like no say in what black women do. You don't have any power over us. You never have, you never will. You've taken yourself out of our community. You've gotten with the white girl. Like, you had, what is that one guy, Carlton from the Fresh Prince? He was just whining, talking about like, oh, nobody's supporting me. You married a white lady. You left the black community, like, and now you're complaining because black households don't support you. You shouldn't have left the black community. Like, it's like you can't even like make this shit make sense. Like, black guys are so narcissistic and stupid that they sit here and they make these stupid choices, and they just think that they are entitled to all this black woman loyalty. And black women are saying no. This is the new generation. There's a lot of things that black people are not putting up with anymore. And black women being at the bottom of the dating pool and just having like this small little selection of black men to choose from, that's something else that's going out the window, whether black guys like it or not. You know, and the more black guys talk about it, the angrier you're making black women, the more reason you're giving us to go ahead and keep moving forward as far as looking at our options. So I'm just telling you, like, the black men are they're not as desirable to black women as they think they are. And as you watch videos like great, hold on one second. If you watch videos like Cynthia G, she shows like a whole series of how women who date outside their race are getting the same woman that black women get. The same man that black women get. So even when these men are with, non-black women go get with a black guy, they still get the same black guy that mistreats them, that disrespects them, that cheats on them, beats them, leaves the home, leaves them a single mother. So, that's just like a whole nother layer of why this needs to be happening, because I feel like personally that black guys have gotten too comfortable. That's why I'm joining this movement with Cynthia G. I knew I was going to join it months ago, and the more I watch things on YouTube, the more I'm just like, yeah, black women need to speak. We need to speak out more. This is another movement that needs to happen, just like the natural hair movement. This is another movement that's happening and needs to happen. So let me read number 2. Black men aren't collectively meeting our standards. There are simply not enough high-quality, financially stable men to go around. There are nearly 2 million more black women than black men in the United States. Even if every black man in America married a black woman, 1 out of every 12 black women would still be left unmarried. More specifically, the stats of high-quality black men to go around are even slimmer. 21% of black men don't have a high school diploma. 17% are unemployed. And 8% of those between the ages of 25 and 34 are incarcerated. This leaves only half of black men, a grim 54%, who would meet black women's standards. These numbers are especially disheartening for black women looking for good black men to marry, which I would say when women say they want a good black man, I would almost say that's synonymous with a high value man, if we want to really be honest. And I mean, it may, the only difference between a high value man and a good black man, I would say, was maybe like the high value man makes more money. But to me personally, like I said, my criteria is different. So for me, a good black man is a man who makes more money than me. So let me continue. It says, it's clear that black women looking to settle down and tie the knot will sometimes have to look outside their race to find romance and love. Number 3, black love doesn't benefit black women collectively. Let's be honest. Black love is just not a realistic option for many black women. In fact, it's often toxic. Caitlin Ingram reveals this reality in her article on North Texas Daily, in which she states, black love means always being a safety net or a helping hand to black men through the good times, the bad times, and the neglect. We are taught to be strong and to never show signs of burden or weakness, not for ourselves, but for the benefits of our families and our partners. Black people are not the only ones who value coupling with our own, but there's often an extreme double standard when we do. In the past, when a black man did it outside of his race, he was often dabbed up for flying outside of his bounds. But when a black woman did it, she was often seen as a traitor who was drowning in self-hate. Because in the past, and still to an extent in the present, black women are seen as less than other women, so when black men date outside of them, it is seen as a step up. And this is very true. So basically like we were just saying, because of the negative publicity that is put upon black women, just the stereotypes that just are constantly reinforced in movies and music and magazines and media, just of all sorts and sizes, whether it's on the internet. Even our black guys jumping on social media and talking crap about black women and why they have divested out, I guess you would call it, for them, or why they've left the black community dating, got with the Becky or whatever. It's just constantly reinforced that black women are not desirable. And so when black men are with the black woman, it's not really like an upgrade. And even if like a non-black man got with a black woman, it's not an upgrade. It's like people probably would be asking him, like, why would you get with her? But like when a black man goes outside of his race, it's an upgrade. And usually the women that he gets with are the undesirable women of their community. So even she's seen as basically upgrading her status by getting with this black guy, because typically he should be a quote unquote, he's a high value guy. Like, that's a whole nother. So basically I think like in general, the high value guys in the black community would be like the celebrities, or like the guys that make like 6 figures. If there's, however many that is, I'm pretty sure that's not that large of a percentage, but that would be considered the high value guys, I believe, just in general for the black community. And as we see, usually when black guys get to that level of really being a high value guy, they tend to jump across the fence and get a Becky, because they feel like, along with their new status that they have, their money that they have, or just the level of like where they are in this country as far as like economically, etc. Even if they're not good looking, but if they have money, that's a big deal for a man, because he's a protector and provider. So it's like usually you can offer a lot of protection when you have money, even if you can't fight or anything. So when you marry a Becky who is from a trailer park, or who is somebody that the white community didn't want anyway, or the guys really weren't checking for her guys are not really wanting her for whatever reason, they don't consider her high value to them, because they have their own value system of what's highly valued as a white female. Like maybe she's not shaped like the typical white woman or whatever. I don't know what their values are, because I don't really pay attention to it, but when she gets with a black guy, like a basketball player or an actor or a Fortune 500 CEO of some big company executive, he's black, it's like she's seen as stepping herself up because it's like he has a lot of money. So it's like they're winning. So like when a black woman gets to someone, though, it's like, is there ever a time, because of the negative stereotypes in the media, where people feel like he got better or he upgraded himself by getting with her? So like a good example to me would be like Alexis Ohanian and Serena Williams. I think that, he did upgrade himself. I don't know if he's a billionaire, but like when I looked last, I think they say he was worth like $60 million. I don't know, but Serena Williams, I believe from what my last research recently was, she makes way more than he does, probably like 4 or 5 times more. And in a capitalist society like America, a lot of times the high value just comes down to the monetary value of that person. What is that person's net worth? Serena is definitely worth more than her white husband. So that's like a extreme situation, but that's like something where I want to give an example of like where I would feel like Alexis getting with Serena is him upgrading himself, because before he got with her, 1, no one knew who the hell he was. 2, he wasn't making as much as he is now collectively with her now that they're married. 3, he's with Serena Williams. I mean, she's a beautiful, badass woman. She's like the best tennis player probably of all time. She's the GOAT. She's Serena Williams, and she's a beautiful woman. Like, she's been, so many black guys, even my ex, I mean, when I first like started talking to him, he had pictures of Serena Williams like in her bikini. I mean, she has a great body. She's an athlete. And so she's definitely, to me, an upgrade. Now, would white supremacist media describe her that way? No, they're not. They won't do it. They're too fucking racist. They want the white pale ass, alabaster, boring, flat mayonnaise version of women to be the standard. They want white European standard, and just saying that makes me want to vomit. But anyways, they want white women to constantly and always be the standard, and that's just not realistic. It's not true. And if you really look at the studies and who people are really with, not everybody wants that. Not every guy is really attracted to that, and they're talking about it on forums. And I did a video where guys were commenting about what they're really into. There's plenty of articles that talk about it, and most guys want women with curves. They like an ethnic girl. They like girls who have, something more going on than just being like this pale white lady, this vanilla ass white person. Talk about boring. I mean, I actually met white guys who exclusively only dated like ethnic women. Like, he only really wanted to be like a black woman, Indian, something else, Asian, anything but a white woman. And he was pale as shit. Like, he had red hair, his eyelashes were like almost translucent. Like, you could barely, he was so pale. He was whiter than white. He actually kind of reminded me of that one comedian, Gary Owens, I think his name is. He reminded me of him because, he was just so white. But it's like it was something about him that I could tell he dates black women. Like, there's just something about him. Like, they have this something swagger or something about them where you can tell they're in the company of black people, and he gets down like that. So I especially me being like having a military background, I definitely seen like for a long time like a lot of interracial couples of just all types of mixes. It's just been like the United Nations that I've had friends with guys, they're married to guys, and they were just like, he's from South America, I'm from England, da 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 da. Because we travel, we're cultured, people are just like, whatever. So it's like, that's another thing. Like, when you're just dating within America, it can feel like such a small box to choose from. And you really could probably really go outside of not even just outside of your race, but outside of your ethnic, bubble, and explore other people's cultures. It could be really exciting. And I think it would be great because you don't have that racism, white supremacist aspect to it. Like, if he's from, of course, white supremacy is all across the globe. Let's not pretend it's not. But if he's from like a whole nother country, I think like it just changes things. Like, you're an American, so now you're held to a higher level than someone who isn't American, for instance. Because let's be real, America's like, it's the most powerful country in the world. So just something like that, like if a black woman goes outside of the country, just like how black guys are talking about they're going to Brazil or whatever, a black woman went outside the country, that could definitely be seen as a positive, just the fact that you're American. I heard, for instance, like places like Italy, they love black women. There's definitely like countries that I could go over in another video and talk about, like where black women get lots of love. Black the men there, they're not, and I'm not saying just, I keep saying black by accident, but, or out of habit, but I mean like the men in other countries, I don't know which those countries are. I just heard some things because like I said, I really used to not really be too interested in going outside my race because I was married. I was married to a black man for a long time, and then I was engaged to a black man for a long time, another black man for a long time. So I really am just like kind of being single for the first time in a very long time, and I actually am enjoying it. I really don't want to be bothered at this point in my life. I'm just like focusing on like other stuff, but that's neither here nor there. I'm just talking like once I start thinking about dating again, you know, these are like choices I feel like I want to have for myself. And if I had a daughter, these are things I would tell her, and I'm gonna tell my nieces and my, you know, I just feel like black women should not be alone. We should not have to raise kids alone. We deserve what every other woman has, if not more. Because we've been through hell and back. So, you know, on top of that, you know, like if you go outside of your country and you are dating other guys, you know, of course you have to be careful. But I mean, that's anybody, because there's a lot of guys that get kind of taken for a ride when they go outside of the country, because everybody wants to be an American citizen. Like everybody's trying to get that green card, that citizenship. And so that's, again, just something that anyone could face, no matter what your group is, your race, your gender, etc. You're American, you're a target, you know. So there's like things like that you have to consider. But I mean, we're not going to just sit here and talk about the negatives, because I think black women do that enough on our own. There's obviously, you know, you have to be cautious like anywhere else. But I definitely think like looking outside of your ethnic group should also be an option, because to someone else, like I know when I was in Belgium, there was a guy there that was really interested in me, and he was white, and I wasn't, of course, interested at the time. But, you know, you just think back, like, you know, how would my life have been different if I would have given him a chance? You know, would I have a husband right now that treated me better, that adored me? You know, you just don't know. You never will know until you give it a chance. So let me finish reading this article. So it says, as popular as black love has become on social media and in pro-black spheres, few are willing to talk about the rates of domestic violence, abuse, and single motherhood that are disproportionately apparent in black couples. By encouraging black women to marry black, are we pushing ourselves into a burning bush and continuing the cycles of abuse that run rampant in the community? In my opinion, the standard of black love is unfairly used to manipulate and shame black women into reducing our options and glorifying the often problematic reality of black love. Black love, ironically, has become another way to remind us to stay in our place and prioritize others' needs and desires before our own. Number 4, compromising our values versus stepping out of our race. What's the solution? Many have resorted to shaming black women for our dating difficulties instead of pointing fingers at the real issue, black men. Men like Steve Harvey, author of the popular bestseller Think Like a Man, believe that black women are genuinely overlooking the good men available and reaching too high by expecting men of similar or better financial standings. Harvey states there are a lot of women, who are trying to match up their education level, who are trying to match up their corporate status to find somebody on the same level, and they are having trouble. While Harvey claims he doesn't believe black women have to settle, he states that they should compromise. He states, you are a corporate exec. Does he have to be a corporate exec? You make $150,000. He has to make $150,000 or above. If your requirement sheet is ridiculous, then you have to look at it. My question to Harvey is, why is expecting your man to make as much or more than you ridiculous? If marriage is supposed to be a form of economic protection for women, why can't we look for men who give us that and more? After all, marriage has traditionally been a means of economic advancement for women. According to Forbes, higher levels of marriage are associated with more state GDP per capita, greater levels of upper economic mobility, lower levels of child poverty, and higher median family incomes. Undeniable are the benefits of marriage, yet it's almost as if people don't believe black women deserve the economic security and mobility that marriage brings. Number 5. Why the backlash when black women step out? Black women are turning to other options after being undervalued and mistreated by the black community and by black men in particular. Yet when we start to look out for ourselves and expand our dating options, we face a backlash that is incomparable to the backlash that black men face for dating out. In 2019, Lonnie Love addressed the online criticism she's received after going public with her interracial relationship. She pointed out the double standard in the public's reaction to black women in interracial relationships versus black men in interracial relationships. She tweeted, "Amazing times at the folks concerned that I am dating a white male, but for years, black males have dated white and exotic women, and no one questions it." The unfortunate truth is that when black women like Lonnie Love seek relationships with people they're compatible with of any race, they are shamed and critiqued. Meanwhile, black men consistently date out and nobody bats an eye. For example, Serena Williams received a lot of backlash online from black men after going public with her relationship with Alexis Ohanian. On the other hand, the Kanye West of the world are a dime a dozen, with many black male entertainers marrying light, bright, and white. As Ari Bynes stated in Babe, we see more black men in interracial relationships than black women, twice as many actually, but they face a significantly lower degree of scrutiny. But at worst, the black men are biting. The outraged black men who think black women are going to sit around waiting for them to realize our worth are living in another dimension. Black women exist neither to be complicit in nor promotional of your male entitlement. And I love, there's that word. I love it. There's that word, black male entitlement. They feel like they're entitled to black women at all costs, no matter how they've treated us, no matter how much they've abandoned us, neglected us, beat us, cheated on us. They think they're still entitled to black women. We're not yours. Just like you feel like you're not ours, we're not yours either. That's where we are now. So she said, of your male entitlement because you think we're broken or that we won't seek out love in forms that are not you because you're straight up tripping, bruh. The fact is that marriage is a tool for women to mobilize and protect themselves economically. Other races of women marry for more than looks and compatibility, but also for the financial security that comes from marrying someone of means. Black women should be allowed to do the same. It's not even we are allowed to do the same. As black women, we deserve to tear down the unfair double standard that critiques black women for seeking mobility, protection, and security for men of all races. So that was one great article. How many great articles to choose from? So this one is another article. This is written by Nicole Cardos, WTTW, I guess is a PBS station. So they said here, why one sociologist says it's time for black women to date white men. This was written April 17, 2019. What do tennis star Serena Williams, U.S. Senator Kamala Harris, and businesswoman Melanie Hobson have in common? They're all married to white men. But despite these real-world examples of interracial relationships, a 2010 Pew Research Center report found that black women are the least likely group of women to marry, especially outside of their own race. That fact led one Northwestern University professor to write a book advocating for more black women to consider dating men outside their own race, specifically white men, if they're looking to get married. There are far more black women than there are black men in this country, and that's been for some time, says Cheryl Giudice, a sociologist and adjunct faculty member in Northwestern University School of Education and Public Policy. Right from age 16 and forward, black women start outnumbering black men. For whites, that doesn't happen until age 32, she said. As a result, if you don't think about dating outside the race, then you very might well may wind up single. The book, Interracial Relationships Between Black Women and White Men, includes real stories of romantic relationships from dating, marriage, to divorce between black women and white men. For example, there's the story of Celeste, a 29-year-old woman who never considered dating outside her own race, but when she did, she found a relationship with a white man to exceed her expectations. Giudice said it's common for black women to not consider dating white men for a few reasons, including historical tensions and a lack of positive black female representation in the media. Can you think of any media where black women have been touted as the most desirable romantic partners? Nowhere, Giudice said. Generally speaking, the idolized version of an American beauty is a white woman who is thin and blonde and blue-eyed. And then there's the story of Denise and Todd, a married couple whose marriage survived despite having different socioeconomic backgrounds and difficulties with families echoing harmful stereotypes. Giudice says she focused on relationships with white men because of history. Relationships with other men of color don't hold the same historical dimension, she said. Black women have never been enslaved by other group of men other than white men. So you might have that whole history right there. Well, that's actually not true. We were enslaved by Native Americans as well. But I know what she's saying. Let me continue. So you have that whole history right there. That makes these relationships between black women and white men the most different, the most daring. And might have said the most scary, because you're worried you're going to end up back in the past and have a continuation of slavery times, and that's terrifying to me. So despite this, Giudice said race was not an important factor for most of the 120 people she interviewed for the book. The main thing that I found most interesting is that these people are just normal people, she said. Their stories, without including their race, in many cases, are typical of anybody else's story. Parents objecting, financial problems, sexual issues. Here's our book, sorry. So black women are the only group of women in America who cannot take for granted that if they seek marriage to a black man, that there will be an ample supply of available men from which to choose. This is not a new problem. Indeed, it goes back several decades, but there hasn't been much public discussion about how to resolve this issue. It is almost like the plight of black women looking for eligible partners is the elephant in the room. Between issues related to skin color, hair texture, and low self-esteem, it is more difficult for black women to talk about it publicly to draw attention to the problem. I am tired of meeting so many women who have suffered in silence and simply given up on having someone love them for who they are. I am writing this book because I have seen firsthand the sadness many black women live with who have never experienced a fulfilling romantic relationship. To be sure, many of these women lead productive and fulfilling lives without ever marrying. Some even decide to have children without husbands. But a common thread I have observed among many is a wistfulness for a part of life which has been denied to them, a part of life all other groups of women take for granted. I have set out in this book to explore the lives of black women who have chosen to cross the racial divide in their quest for personal happiness. Most young girls grow up fantasizing about dating and marrying someone within their own racial ethnic group, and indeed, approximately 87% of marriages in the U.S. are between people of the same racial ethnic backgrounds. Black girls growing up today face a very different reality, as illustrated by a few daunting statistics. First, the number of black females began to outnumber the black males by age 16. For whites, this does not happen until approximately age 32. Second, black men are more than twice as likely as black women to marry outside of the race. Black women are the least likely group of women to marry outside of the race. Third, for every 100 college-educated black females, there are approximately 35 to 40 comparably educated black males. These statistics underscore a sobering reality that set the parameters for this book. I became interested in the dating and marriage prospects of young black women 30 years ago. Living in Evanston, Illinois, I met numerous middle to upper class black families residing in several North Shore communities. These couples supplied their children with the privileges that their social and economic status afforded while living in predominantly white suburban areas. Recognizing that their children might feel somewhat isolated living in predominantly white suburbs, many of these families joined black social groups or black churches to expose their children to a broader African American culture. What happened to many of these children as they entered their teen and early adult years differed based on gender. Young black males, who might be considered physically attractive, enjoyed a broad range of friends across race, ethnicity, and gender in active social lives. On the other hand, young black females, while they may have had strong friendships with white females, were not as likely to have equal numbers of white male friendships. Moreover, for some black females, as the dating years began, former friendships with white females began to fade. In sum, the social experiences of this group of black males and females took dramatically different routes as the teen years ended. Fast forward to the late 20s and early 30s for this group of young African Americans, and the following had occurred. Most of them had completed college. Many were enrolled in or had completed professional graduate or trade school, and were beginning their careers. Some in this group were involved in relationships, but it was only the black males who were engaged or had married. Most of their black female counterparts were single and often voiced concern and were the subject of conversation, particularly among their mothers. In conversations with many of the black mothers, they expressed their frustration about the dating and marriage prospects for their daughters, while the black mothers with sons noted that the males were pursued by women of various racial ethnic groups. Now in their late 40s, it is not surprising that many of the black males eventually married outside of the race or were involved in long-term relationships and had children, while their black female counterparts either remained single or married much later in life, late 30s to early 40s. Moreover, for some of the black women who eventually married, they were the second wives of their black husbands, oftentimes becoming stepmothers and are married to men who were not from the middle to upper middle class in which they had grown up. Only one of the black males who married outside of the race was married to a woman that came from a lower socioeconomic background, and none married women who had children from previous relationships. My anecdotal observation of the dating and marriage patterns of middle-class black children who grew up in Chicago's predominantly white North Shore suburbs 30 years ago are not unique. Numerous conversations with middle-class black families living in similar circumstances around the country confirmed my observations. Although in more recent times, some of the distinctions in dating and marriage patterns that I initially observed have begun to diminish. Succinctly, middle-class African Americans often experience different dating and marriage patterns, leaving black females with fewer dating and marriage options if they only see partners within their racial ethnic group. The primary purpose of this book is to tell the stories of black women who are dating, married to, or divorced from white males. Recognizing that the marriage pattern of black women who are married to white men represents the smallest number of interracially married couples and the most extreme end of the marriage spectrum, it is my hope that presenting their stories will cause more black women to intentionally seek to broaden their ideal of suitable dating and marriage partners. This group is not intended to diminish black males, only to present another dating and marriage option for black women. Let me repeat that. This book is not intended to diminish black males, only to present another dating and marriage option for black women who wish to get married and who recognize that the continuing numerical imbalance between black men and black women in this country reduces the likelihood of marrying within their racial ethnic group. Second, this book gives voice to white men who are dating, married to, or divorced from black women. Their stories or perspectives provide balance to those of the women. Finally, the stories in this book are limited to the dating and marriage lives of heterosexual middle-class African American women and white men who cross the racial divide in their quest to achieve personal happiness. Additionally, I interviewed 10 black women who are divorced from their white husbands. 60 personal interviews were conducted for this book. The majority of interviews were with black women who are currently married to white men, half of whom were interviewed with their husbands. 11 interviews are with women who were dating white males or who have been in relationships with white men, and 4 were with white males exclusively without their black girlfriends or wives. The majority of participants were between the ages of 21 and 55 and were interviewed in 2014 through 2017. It is my hope that these stories found within these pages will be thought-provoking and provide insight on what it means to interracially date or marry. This is just really great. There's like other stories here. Let me see. And this is something that I learned from following Cynthia G, and she's just speaking the truth. It's like, if she's saying something and I can actually see it physically happening around me, it just is what it is. Especially if I've seen this pattern for probably since I've been born. I've seen it over and over and again with the deadbeat fathers, the abuse, got black guys just walking out, the way they treat their families, their kids. And it's not just with me, obviously. It could be like me as a child, like my biological father running off. Then it happening to me when I had my first child. The guy ran off. It was just extremely irresponsible. And I've seen this happening to so many other families around me. It actually was weird, growing up. It was actually very normal for black children that I spoke to not know who their dad was or where their dad was. And that was just commonplace. So, the fact that black males are always trying to shit on single mothers is full of crap. Brad did not come at single mothers the same way. He was basically saying you're on social media showing your body parts or whatever, and you shouldn't be doing that. Black males talk about single mothers in such a vitriol, with so much vitriol, in such a horrific way, that they basically blame black women for the community being a hot mess. They blame us for the air being too cold that day. You name it, black males are blaming single mothers for every bad thing that's ever happened in the black community. That's typical, and that's why black women are divesting. I mean, you're not going to sit here and put every bad thing that's ever happened in the black community on just the shoulders of black women. And it's funny because I was actually just scrolling through my feed while I was listening to Brad I've seen this video so many times, so I was half listening while I was just letting it play for my video so you guys can hear what I was going to comment on. But Phil had posted this. He said, "The real sisters that can't stand the behavior of modern women and call them out will always have my support. I bet they will." This pic came from one of the genuine sisters that follow our page. And he put it says, "The most disrespected person in America is the masculine black man." That's a fucking lie. So, anyways, I guess apparently black males are really, again, they're the victims. Everyone needs to focus on black males and who cares about black women and our plight and the fact that we are overwhelmingly heading the household with our children that the black male has abandoned. So I don't know how you're the most disrespected person in America when you have black women who make less than everybody else, when you're comparing us to the black man, the white woman, the white man, for example. But yet we're taking on the brunt of raising all of the children alone in the community. Like, I will say this till my dying day, there would not be a black race if it were not for black women. Black males have shown time and time again their true disdain and hatred for black women and black children. It's like, because black males have so much self-hate, they absolutely detest the fact that black women would dare to lay down and have a child that looks like them and continue the race. I think they really do want to just water down the entire black race and make everyone biracial, which is again why it's really ironic that Phil would have an issue with this video, with black women divesting. You think he'd be happy, but you know why they're not happy? Because black males have such a big fucking ego. They want to talk about entitlement. They feel entitled to black women. They feel entitled to our loyalty. They feel entitled to our undying love for them, and that we're supposed to just sit here and twiddle our fucking thumbs until they decide to come back across the fence from screwing Becky and Maria and whomever else they're sleeping with at the time who isn't black. Phil is not married to a black woman. Out of respect for Phil, I've watched his channel as well for years. I do agree with him a lot of things when it comes to white supremacy, etc. But on this one, I draw the line. I know he's trying to call it modern women. Whatever he's calling it, it isn't helping. It's basically just creating a deeper divide between black women and black men. That's the only thing you're accomplishing. Point blank, period. Because black women are not going to suddenly listen to you guys and say, hey, you know what, you're right. You're going to have a few sorry as black women who are just pathetic and lacking self-esteem, or maybe they're just ignorant like I was and don't know, any better, which I doubt because it's all over YouTube, so I don't know how you couldn't know any better unless you just willfully are enjoying your ignorance that you're wanting to stay in so you could have this bliss, which really isn't bliss because you're going to be single black women. These black women who are so faithful to black guys, like the one lady who just posted this meme about how black masculine men are the most disrespected in America. She's probably single, raising all her kids by herself, and she's tired and she's haggard and she doesn't get to feel like a woman because she never gets a fucking break. I am speaking from experience. I know what life she's living. And so for me to sit here and have to look at this video as I'm very single, which by the way, I actually don't mind it because I just got out of a shitty relationship. I am in no hurry to deal with another guy's crap. But it's like the fact that I'm sitting here single. It's like, who are you, Phil, who's married outside of your race? Who are you to tell black women not to divest? Who are you to try to discourage us from divesting? Who are you to even talk about this topic? Like, it's not a concern of yours. It has nothing to do with you. You're married, for one, and then you have Brad, who's white, and you're talking about a white man. You're talking about white men and black women. What does that have to do with you? I have no clue. I have no clue why this video was ever needed, except to try to discourage black women from looking at our options, from going outside of our race, because black males want all the women. They want to think every race of women wants them. Well, newsflash, black women are sick of black guys. We don't want you anymore. And Ming Lee and Karen and all them bitches can have y'all. They've been having you all this time. They can keep having you and take you right on off our hands. You have been a huge fucking headache. Black women are so tired of trying to make a normal life, a stable family, normal life with black males, and they just make it a living hell. They make it really, really effing hard to continue to love them. So you know what? Black women are wiping our hands of you guys, and we're done. We're done. So I don't know what this video was supposed to achieve, but all it did was piss me off more. I guess I would call myself a modern woman, even though I'm not on OnlyFans, I'm not on Instagram, my ass hanging out, but I do believe women have rights and should get to exercise those rights just like men. I think that people should be created equal and be treated equally no matter what your race or gender is. So if that makes me a quote unquote modern woman, then so be it. Because listening to black guys, I don't even want to be a traditional woman. I don't know what traditional woman is. It's probably someone who's allowing you to oppress them. We have moved past that with the women's rights movement. Like, we moved past that. So you might call me a feminist, you can call me a modern woman. I don't give a shit what you call me. I just know that everybody should have a right to choice, especially when their group of men have been choosing all over the fucking globe all this time for a long time. A very long time. And then the person who's making this video is not even married to a black woman, his damn self. But you're sitting here trying to discourage black women from finding their happiness and going outside their race to be with somebody else. And you're talking about entitlement, but to me personally, he never really said what entitlement is. I guess they're basically just telling black women that if you're taking your clothes off and you have an OnlyFans, page or whatever, and you're creating porn on there, whatever you're doing. I don't have an OnlyFans account, like I said. I watched a documentary on Hulu, so I know a little bit about it, because I kept hearing about it everywhere in like music, and I'm just like, what is this crap? I knew it was probably gonna be another social media thing, and I'm like, here we go. But anyways, but you're basically telling black women once more that we're not important enough or good enough to have like standards or expect things. Who the fuck are you to tell black women what we should and should not expect? That we cannot have entitlements. That Brad is not gonna put that you're not a white guy. Even if you were, you'd be one white guy. You can't speak for all white guys. You don't know what they would put up with. You guys are so afraid. Black guys are so afraid of finally losing their black women. The one group of women they knew would always have their back. But you've been treating us like shit. And eventually everyone gets tired of that. Everybody has a breaking point. Everyone has a line that is crossed. And black women have found that line. We're done. We are done with black guys shit. Because my generation, this generation of black guys, the millennial black guys, they're full of shit. They're full of shit. They're not being raised properly. You can blame, black guys love to blame black mothers, single mothers, but I commend black single mothers for actually sticking in there, hanging in there, no matter how hard it gets, no matter how many kids she has, she does the best she freaking can. Can't say the same for the dads who are fucking running off and making whole entire other families, or willingly leaving the house to be a hoe, or his ass is in jail somewhere, or he's got killed because he's in the streets gangbanging with other black guys, making the neighborhoods unsafe for black women and children. We're not going to talk about the little girl that just died on the 4th of fucking July. She's visiting her grandmother. This little black girl was murdered by a drive-by shooting. I already knew it was a drive-by shooting just before I even clicked on the video to see what the rest of the title said. She was 10 years old. 10 years old. But you want to tell black women to continue to put up with black males bullshit. You're sitting here killing our children while white people are killing our children and not being punished. But you don't want us to look at our options while you, however, feel, and all these black guys out here dating outside of the race have done just that. You've done exactly that. You have jumped your ass out the window and looked at your options. You decided a long time ago you can do better than a black woman, and you felt very fucking entitled to go find yourself something else, even though what's so special about you? What is so special about males? And what I'm sick of, the next point I want to make, what I'm getting sick of is black males, and just any males in general, including this Brad that was in this video. How are you going to keep hating on women taking off their clothes on OnlyFans, taking off their clothes on Instagram, or wherever else they want to take their clothes off at, but you keep funding it? You keep giving them your attention and your money at the strip clubs, at the pornos, and wherever else women are taking their clothes off. You're giving money to it. The Playboy, how old was that? The whole Playboy establishment. And you just lusting after these women. You got the video vixens, you got the rappers with the women in there with no clothes. Why was that happening? Was it happening because men hate to see women with no clothes on so much? Because they weren't doing it for women. I wasn't tuning in to a rap song hoping to see a woman twerking her big ass with no clothes on. That's for guys' consumption. That's for the black guys to look at, and all the other guys, whatever guy likes a big butt. That was for their viewing. That wasn't for me. I actually stopped listening to music around the 90s once that Sir Mix-a-Lot song came out. I was done. I already knew that song came out, and then everything after that was downhill from there. It was just after that women were just We were sex objects. That's what we are. We were just a piece of nothing, a piece of meat you throw up on the video to get, your ratings higher and to sell more albums. That's all women were. We had no effing talent except to stand around in a bikini for some stupid reason while the guy is wearing a fur coat in front of a sports car, and we just dancing beside him. Like, it's like the women never have a purpose. We can never be the rapper. We can never have a job. We can never be, doing anything else. We just supposed to sit here and stand beside this guy. And it's just bullshit. It's bullshit. Like, I don't watch women's videos and just see like all these guys just standing around in underwear, just looking like a clown. And yes, there are some videos that do that, but every time you see things like that, it's because women are responding to men. Like, women are tired of being objectified. We're tired of people trying to tell us what to do with our bodies, what we're supposed to like and not like. And meanwhile, you guys are just treating us like we're nothing. You're treating us like we're objects. And now you're upset because women are owning it and we're making money from it and we're being successful with it. And I'm saying we, but of course I'm not doing these things, but whatever. Women are finally taking ownership of their sexuality and they're making money and they're being successful and they're doing the damn thing, and men are mad. Oh, fucking well. Stay fucking mad. Stay mad. Stay effing. I promise you I don't care. I promise you I don't care. Like, I'm so angry when I see this crap. I'm like, how dare you fucking open your mouth and tell us what white guys want, what black women should be feeling like we can want. You're not either one. You're like white people. And that's what I tell people constantly. I'm like, black guys act like white supremacists. They're constantly trying to oppress black women. Like, you don't have no fucking dog in this fight. You don't have any business worrying about black women going outside their race. You're not a black woman. How does it affect you? You are married. What are you worried about? What are you worried about? It's bullshit. The whole thing is crap. The whole thing is crap.
Oh, black men is the only one that talk about issues with some of the single mothers. Oh, only black men is talking about the entitlement. Oh, only black men is talking about the OnlyFans and all of the stuff on Instagram. Oh, I thought it only was black men. No, it's men in general now. They're tired of it. And let me tell you about Brad. Brad in his community is way more cutthroat on the women than black men are. Black men give y'all a lot of passes on a whole lot of things. Brad don't play that situation with his woman. He don't. And let me tell you something else. The reason why you seeing now all the Beckys and the Beccas out here getting the BBLs now. You notice that? And brothers know what I'm talking about. Women even see this too. They getting the BBLs and they getting the hips done. And they doing all the baby hair because black women started doing all that. Anything black women do, they start to follow. Braiding their hair up, doing any kind of style that black women is doing. Well, Brad has not asked, not one time, for his women to do that. Matter of fact, because listen, I know the Brad and his people very, very well. Brad's type of woman is Tomi Lahren. Now, if you know how you see how Tomi Lahren look, that blonde hair, and she don't have to have blonde hair, but I'm just saying that traditional blonde hair. If you see her body type, that's what Brad mostly go after. Brad don't want no white woman with no BBL. He's not asking for that. He ain't want no woman with no hips and all. He ain't asking for anything. Now, Brad may want a woman with some breast implants. He cool with that. Or maybe she get a nose job, whatever. Okay, he cool on that too. But he don't want all that. So if you see these white women getting the BBLs and doing all that, what men you think they going after? And why? They going after black men because that's what black men go after. And not all black men gonna go after that, because now not all BBLs are equal too, because some BBLs look ridiculous. And then some they actually get it where it still look kind of natural, but you kind of know, but it still looks natural. Okay. These women are trying to get in with the black men because Brad don't want they behind. For whatever the reason, he don't want they behind. So now they trying to come. And listen, women of all races know that, listen, if I can fix myself up, Well, with black men, like, they'll come after me for whatever the reason. Now, I know some women going to say, well, it lets you know that women in other groups, they just come to y'all when they men don't want them. I don't know why they men don't want them. Don't know. I don't care. What I'm saying is that Brad is not going to put up with your crap either. And other women that date Brad know this. This is why they write books. And there's all kind of books on Amazon telling you how to conduct yourself to date a white man. We don't need books to on anything, because all black men got to be as ourselves. We don't have to conduct ourselves a certain way to get no woman. What I'm saying is, what are you going to say now? That Brad is saying the exact same thing. What you gonna do? Blame Kevin Samuels for that too? Because that'd be the next thing. It's because he watched Kevin Samuels. No. Brad been talking like that way before that. I know that. When Brad and them started men going their own way. That's Brad and them started that. Okay, Brad and them been talking about that for years. The thing is, y'all don't go to Brad's side of YouTube to hear what Brad is talking about. Brad is very cutthroat about the situation with his women, and he don't like it. The feminism, all that mess. Just being real with you. So even your option, even expanding your option, not putting up with your crap either. So maybe you just need to fix yourself. Of course, those this applies to. If it doesn't apply to you, then you have no dog in that fight at all, right? But don't come here acting like Brad is gonna put up with your crap. You know, your behavior and your character is what it is. Going to another race of man in your ways is not gonna change the fact those men not gonna put up with your crap either. Just wanted you to let you know that. But leave me a comment.
Do it every day. It's a great time. But something, as of recently, has been on my mind. And I consider myself a teacher, a helper, someone who could possibly inspire people to be better. So with that being said, this is a PSA for all the men out there and all the boys who think they're men, but they're actually boys. This is going to be the summer of canceling boys. Now, from my own personal experiences and the experiences of all of my friends, which range in age from 24 to 36, we've all got issues. Now, I will also say this. All of my friends are attractive. All of my friends are successful. All of my friends have something going on. Almost every single one of them have an issue with men. And you have to start looking at that and thinking, if an age range of that many people, including myself, living really all over the country and being blonde, brunette, short hair, long hair, tan, super white, super pale, these women range in every body type and everything. They're all successful, they're all intelligent, they're all good people. But if all of these women, including myself, are having issues, then I have to think, it might not be us. It might be you. It might be men. It might be men. Now, I've often talked about the pussification of America and how men are no longer men. I talk to my mom about this a lot, and she says, well, maybe it's just the guys in Texas. Maybe it's just the guys in Los Angeles. Maybe it's just the guys. It is not just the guys in Los Angeles, Nashville, Dallas, and they're not any better in the Midwest. Quite frankly, I think they're trash all over this country in the age range of about 20 to I think about 55, maybe even 60. A lot of men are trash. A lot of men don't know how to treat women. A lot of men don't know how to really, quite frankly, pull their heads out of the sand and pay attention. So I am going to help you. And these are some of the things that I've experienced, and these are some of the things my friends have experienced. I'm just going to lay a few things out. They haven't all happened to me. Some of them have just happened to my friends. A lot of them have happened to me. So the first thing, and I've made notes, by the way. I've made notes. This is how invested I am in this, because I've been thinking about this for about 2 weeks solid now. First question for men. If you like a girl, if you're even somewhat interested in a girl, you need to ask yourself this question. Are you single? No, I don't mean are you kind of single, seeing 5 people, dating somebody, still kind of in a relationship, kind of broken up, kind of on again, off again, kind of married, kind of divorced. Are you actually single? That means single. You have nobody. You have no complications. You have no attachments. You are actually single. That is the first question, believe it or not, that needs to be asked. And ladies, you should be asking it, because in 2020, it's not a given anymore that a guy that's actively pursuing you is actually single. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I think is very important that men don't seem to understand. There are very few women out there, and I'm speaking from personal experience as well as from all of my friends and all the women, quite frankly, that I talk to. There is not a woman out there that wants to be your pen pal. She doesn't want to get your texts, your good morning texts, your good night texts, your random through the day texts, if they don't follow up with a plan to actually, here's the kicker, in person, hang out. Now, I know what you're saying. Oh, it's COVID. People can't hang out in person. This has not been a 4-month problem. This has been a 5-year problem that I've experienced with men, and my friends have experienced with men. Women do not want a pen pal. We don't want a texting pal. We quite frankly don't care if you text us all day or if you don't text us at all. If you're not going to make a plan to actually see us in person, not interested. And if you do have a woman out there that just wants to be your pen pal, it's probably because she has a boyfriend or a husband or a wife or whatever. We don't want a pen pal. But that also leads me to my second point. This is going to be backwards for you guys. Make plans. Make a plan. Do not assume that you can text somebody randomly in the middle of the day, what are you doing? Or text them at midnight or 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. or even just within hours of when you actually want to see them and think that they're going to be available. I personally, once I get home and I take my makeup off and I'm watching TV, I'm no longer interested. So if you didn't make a plan earlier in the day, or better yet, a day or 2 or 3 in advance, I'm not interested. I don't want to hang out anymore because that ship has sailed. Make a plan. I want to hang out with you at this time. It doesn't have to even be a date. I want to see you at this time. Are you free at this time? Or when are you free? I will accommodate my schedule to see you. When are you free? I want to see you. I know it's not rocket science, but men of 2020, it seems like it's pretty difficult for you to figure out. And I'm not a feminist, so please don't take this as a feminist rant. I love men. I think men are great. I think men have failed themselves and they've failed us. And I'm just trying to help you out because I think there are a lot of really great guys out there who need a little help. And I don't think that there are a lot of women that are stepping up and saying these things and not FaceTime me, I swear to God. Quite frankly, I don't think that there are a lot of women that aren't raging feminists that don't look like Lena Dunham. They're saying these things to you. So I'm going to go ahead and say them because they need to be said. I am really so sick of my friends having to deal with trash men. I am tired of dealing with trash men, so I'm going to help you out. Make plans. So let's go through these lists again because I know y'all love a list. Number 1, are you single? Number 2, make a plan. Nobody wants a pen pal. We want to actually see you. If not, don't text us because it's a waste of our time and we don't want to see it on our phones. Got it? All right. Next thing. Value. Okay? Value. Take that in. Just repeat it to yourself until it makes sense. Okay. If you want to date a girl that has nothing going on, then that's fine. But please do not mix in people like me and my friends who have something going on with your other girls that have nothing going on. And by nothing going on, I mean this. There is no job that is unimportant. There is no job that's not valuable or that's not worthy. It is. But if you want to mix in people like me and people like my friends who are go-getters, who work really hard, who make their own money, who are talented, skilled, ambitious, please don't mix us in with the Tatianas. We don't want to be there. If that's what you want, find them. Please, for the love of God, do not mix us in with them because we don't want to be there. And quite frankly, we take it as an insult if we find out that you are also talking to 5 Tatianas who have nothing going on. People like me and my friends are going to be insulted by that. And there's almost really no coming back from it. So if you want that kind of a girl, the kind of girl who's just kind of happy going through the motions of life, not really super ambitious, hasn't really found herself yet, doesn't really have a whole lot going on other than she's pretty, Please just go after them. And please do not mix us in. We don't want to be there. I promise you. So value. There's a lot of women out there that I know that are my good friends who have amazing jobs, who work really hard, but who can't seem to find a decent guy, even if they go up in age 5 to 10 to 15 years, because those guys all want to be with 21-year-olds who have nothing going on. It's very unfortunate. I don't think it's going to be fulfilling, but I would say to the men out there, try to maybe find a woman that you can talk to, communicate with, might actually have her shit together, might actually be ambitious and have something going on or want to have something going on. I don't care what she does. She doesn't have to be on TV. She doesn't have to be a PhD. She doesn't have to be a television producer. She doesn't have to own her own company, but be ambitious and have something going on. Those women out there are going to be a lot more fulfilling to you. You're actually going to enjoy your time. And if you actually might want a sustainable and healthy and stable relationship, that's probably the kind of girl you're going to need to find. Not the Tatianas who just want to look cute and post Instagram stories. Now, I love a good Instagram story. Y'all know I do. I love a good boomerang. I love a good whatever. But if that's all you do, men, if that's all she does, probably Houston, we have a problem. I'm just going to let you in on a little tip. The next thing on my list is this: consistency. It really does not help me or my friends or any woman in general if you are really cool and you're really interested when you first start talking to them, and then give it 3, 4, 5 days and all of a sudden you're not consistent anymore. You don't make plans. You don't really care. You kind of fade in and out. You're talking to 5 other Tatianas. Consistency is important. Now, if you want to be inconsistent and you want to ghost and you want to fall off the radar, that's fine, but I'm going to give you a pro tip. People like me and people like my friends, we aren't going to really give a shit after that. We don't really care. The F's have been given and we're kind of done. I'll tell you this from personal experience. Once I'm turned off, I am turned off and I don't care anymore. Because at one point, I probably did care. At one point, my friends, they probably did care. They probably did like you because you expressed interest and maybe you were cool and maybe you were kind of fun to hang out with. But if you're not consistent and you fall off the radar, I give you maybe 1 to 2 chances to fix that, because I'm a very direct communicator. Women, this is important. I will communicate to you. If your communication isn't great, I will let you know that. I will let you know that more effort is needed. But if you don't heed that warning and I have to warn you twice, I'm done at that point because I don't really care anymore. Now I'm done. Now I don't care. And I know my friends who are watching this are thinking and saying the same thing because we have these conversations on an almost daily basis. Once you turn us off, we don't care anymore. So let that be a warning to you. You're probably not going to circle back. They always come back. They always come back. But when you're ready to come back, I probably don't care anymore. So if you want to switch up, stay there. Pro tip. My last thing on my list is also very important. Don't be, excuse my language, don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch. If you have then failed and you lost a woman of value like myself or my friends, and then we don't really care anymore, don't be a bitch. Don't be butthurt. You did it to yourself. Okay? And it's no longer my problem. Now it's become a personal problem of yours. So don't be a bitch. And by the way, if I'm no longer interested because your effort is shitty, that's not me being a bitch. That's not me being difficult. That's me having a standard in which I expect from people. I do have high standards and high expectations. My friends have high standards and high expectations. Do you want to know why? We've worked for those. Okay? We work hard. We're successful. We take care of ourselves. We try to look cute. We have a desire to be something more each day. Okay? That's why we have the ability to be somewhat what you call difficult. It's not difficult. We just have a baseline standard. And if you can't meet that standard, that's okay. A lot of men cannot. But if you are one of those men out there, and I have them all over my DMs, sometimes I check them, and you guys are like, what would it take to be with someone like you? What would it take to be with your friends? What are girls like you? What are they looking for? I laid them out for you very simply there. In order to have a shot with a girl like me or girls like my friends, girls that are worth a damn, you don't really have to be Brad Pitt. You don't have to be famous. You don't even really have to make a lot of money or have a really fantastic job. You just have to be determined. You have to be in some way successful in that you want to attain some certain kind of success for yourself, you're driven, you have goals, you can handle a woman with standards, that's not going to turn you off. And you're going to put in the effort to be with somebody like myself or my friends. We deserve that. And we will not compromise our standards. I tell you this, it will be a cold day in hell when I chase a man. And I know that's the same thing for my friends as well. And if my friends are listening and they're thinking about chasing a man, please, for the love of God, do not. Because there is not one single man on planet Earth, okay, that is worth making any woman feel like she is not good enough. I don't care how hot a girl is, how smart, how successful, how rich. We have all dealt with men who treat us like we are not good enough. No, the problem is we are too enough and you can't handle it. So those are my checklists. Again, I will go.
Hey guys, so thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about the video in the comments below. And make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.